Welcome to our snapshot webinar about special educational needs. This webinar will explain what the term special educational needs or SEN means in relation to nurseries, schools and colleges. The law says that a child or young person has SEN if they have a learning difficulty or disability which calls for special educational provision to be made for him or her. The SEN Code of Practice 2015 explains what educational settings should be doing and has a section on SEN on pages 99 to 109. You can download a copy of the code from our website. Details are at the end of this webinar. So what should educational settings be doing? The expectation is that all pupils will receive high quality teaching and that staff will make this personalised and flexible. Teachers are expected to differentiate, which involves adapting their teaching styles and resources for all their pupils. Even with these changes, some children and young people may still struggle because of a learning difficulty or a disability that means that they can't access the facilities in the same way as others. What do we mean when we talk about SEN provision? The SEN Code of Practice 2015 says for children aged 2 or more, special educational provision is educational or training provision that is additional to or different from that made generally for other children or young people of the same age by mainstream schools, maintained nursery schools, mainstream post-16 institutions or by relevant early years providers. For a child under 2 years of age, special educational provision means educational provision of any kind. Children and young people who are struggling may need special educational provision. You will often hear this called SEN support. Special educational provision or support should be available to children who are having difficulties, and this is additional to or different from the support that is available to all the children and young people. For children under 2 years old, any educational support is considered to be special educational provision. Health and social care provision. The Children and Families Act 2014 says health or social care provision which helps to educate or train a child is to be treated as special educational provision. For example, occupational therapy which helps a child with their fine motor skills to aid their handwriting must be considered as special educational provision. Another example would be a child or young person who needs speech and language therapy, which also must be considered as special educational provision. Diagnosis, disability or not. A child does not need to have a diagnosis or a disability to have SEN. This means that special educational provision is based on needs and not on a diagnosis or disability. Special educational provision should be in place if the child or young person has needs that are additional to or different from their typically developing peers. A child doesn't automatically have SEN if their progress is slower or their attainment is lower than their peers. These children and young people need regular monitoring to check that the gap between them and their peers isn't getting bigger. If a child or young person's progress is the same as their peers, that doesn't mean that they don't have SEN. As an example, a child with autism may be able to manage their academic work really well, but having difficulties with starting and maintaining friendships with others, group work, etc. They may need some help with friendships and working with others through some social communication support. There are 4 broad areas. These are communication and interaction, cognition and learning, social, emotional and mental health, and sensory and/or physical. Let's have a quick look at each of these areas. Communication and interaction. This includes children with speech, language and communication difficulties who may have a difficulty with just some aspects of communication or all of them, or children on the autism spectrum who might have difficulties with their social communication, understanding others or being understood, etc. Examples of support might be a visual timetable, speech therapy sessions, communication groups, etc. Cognition and learning. These are children and young people who have learning difficulties which can range from mild through to moderate to severe. A small number of children and young people have profound and multiple learning difficulties where they will need support in all areas of their learning. Children with specific learning difficulties such as dyslexia, dyscalculia, dyspraxia fall into this area. Examples of support might involve reading, writing or spelling interventions, differentiated worksheets, coloured overlays, reading pens, voice-to-text devices, etc. Social, emotional, mental health. This area covers a wide range of difficulties which can show themselves in a number of ways. For example, somebody becoming withdrawn, self-harming, aggression, substance misuse, eating disorders, low mood, depression, etc. Attention deficit difficulties fall into this category. Examples of support might be school mentors, counselling sessions, specialist programs such as decider skills, etc. Sensory and or physical, this includes people with hearing and visual conditions. This area can prove a barrier to someone accessing their learning because they may not be able to use the facilities generally available to pupils and may need specialist equipment to be able to access the curriculum. Examples of support might be hearing loop systems, high colour contrast showing different parts of the building, for example floors, doors, etc., for pupils with visual impairments, adaptive technologies such as voice or movement activated controls. My child might have SEN. What should you do next? Think about what your child or young person needs or wants to do at the moment and in the future. This can be both in terms of their academic learning but also their development of independent skills for adulthood and work. Talk with your child or young person about how things are going, their hopes and dreams for the future. Your views and the views of your child are very important and should be at the heart of finding out if special educational provision is needed. Think about the outcomes that you and your child are looking for. For example, a child might have a specific occupation they are interested in, or might want to learn to travel independently on the bus or train. They might want to improve their literacy and numeracy skills to participate in cooking classes, etc. Talk to someone in your child's nursery, school or college. This might be the class teacher, the special education needs coordinator, SENCO, or the head of year. Taking things seriously. The Special Education Needs Code of Practice 2015 says early discussions with parents should be structured in such a way that they develop a good understanding of the pupil's area of strength and difficulty, the parent's concerns, the agreed outcomes sought for the child and the next steps, and that schools should take seriously any concerns raised by a parent. This means that educational settings need to take parents' concerns seriously and says that early discussions with parents should be organised so that a good understanding is developed of the child or young person's strengths and difficulties. They need to listen carefully to parents' concerns and agree outcomes and next steps. What next? We hope that the information in this webinar has been helpful. For further information on a range of SEN issues, check out the Sendiass North Yorkshire website at sendiassnorthyorkshire.co.uk. You could also look at our range of fact sheets, which you will find on our leaflets and fact sheets page on our website. This is just a snapshot about confidence in meetings. We hope eventually to hold face-to-face sessions where we explore this subject in greater detail. If you want further advice, please contact us via our advice line or through the Facebook and Twitter pages through the link on our website. If you would like to learn more and attend our free workshops on SEN issues, please contact the Parent Carer Voice to register. Their contact details are on screen. If you would like further information and support, please get in touch with us. If you have enjoyed this webinar, please let us know via our feedback form on our website. Thank you.